Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Verified Gains. I want to make another video today because a lot of exciting things are happening with the markets right now. So let's dive right into the Bitcoin charts over here. So far it looks like we're consolidating above $106,000. Today is a red candle. It looks like we are trying to retest the $106,000 support line, which is good. I mean, let the market retest it. Okay, let the market retest it because things are looking very bullish right now. Now, there are two catalysts. Okay, number one, and by the way, when it does come to crypto, remember, this is not a US traditional equities market. Although, even the traditional market, even the traditional US market, everybody globally participates in it. Same thing with crypto. I know we talk a lot about US politics and US macro here, but that really does largely determine the global markets and therefore cryptocurrency as well. Okay, so number one, what is going to be the catalyst? Right now, the US government is working on the quote unquote big beautiful bill by President Trump. And that is big news because if that gets passed, people are going to see that, guess what, as a bullish signal. Now, a lot of people might say, oh, like how exactly? Well, a lot of it's dependent on market sentiment. I mean, if you just asked a random person walking down the street, what do you know about the big, beautiful bill? They're not really going to be able to explain it like a tax specialist would, or somebody who actually read through the bill proposal. Really, what matters is the bill going to be passed, and how is the U.S. government going to sell it? If they say that, this is great for the economy, we're gonna break all-time highs on the S&P 500. People are gonna buy that. And generally, that's going to be a bullish market sentiment. The retail investors, they don't care what the actual bill is supposed to be about. If the president says that's bullish, people are going to spend their money and buy a risk on asset. Trust me. Do you know how I know this? Just by looking at what happened after April. Okay. And to fully understand this, I'm going to take a look at the S&P 500 index in just a little bit. What's going to be the second catalyst? Lowering interest rate. Okay. So there are a lot of talks on when this is going to happen. And I think there's just going to be a lot of politics involved. But it is in the federal chair's best interest to lower the interest rate sooner than later. And a lot of people are doubting, hey, the chance of it happening in July is going to be very low. I disagree. I think there is a good possibility that the rate decrease actually happens in July, and that is going to be the catalyst that is going to absolutely catapult the price of Bitcoin. And from a technical analysis, which is largely a lagging indicator, that's what's setting out to be. Now, this morning I was playing around with the charts a little bit. So if you look at my RSI on the bottom over here, it does look a little bit different from the traditional RSI, which is based on a 14-day period. Basically, what I was trying to accomplish here is rather than just using the short-term, traditional 14-day RSI, which, in the bigger scheme of things, don't really add much to my strategy. Like, for example, how am I going to know when to buy or when to sell based on the 14-day RSI? I mean, in my experience, it doesn't really help. So I said to myself, okay, well, I'm basically setting up my buy and sell, well, mainly sell signal um, on two things, right? So we already talked about the date method, where I count the number of days from the bear market low to halving and then extrapolate that into the future. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my previous videos. And number two, and more importantly, I use the Pi cycle top indicator. And remember, all these are just applicable to Bitcoin, not altcoins. I have a different strategy for altcoin. Please watch my previous videos if you don't know yet what my strategy for selling the altcoin is. However, I try to, adjust the RSI date um, to make it such that it does coincide with the Pi cycle top. And what I found is that when I set the RSI to 90, okay, near the Pi cycle top, near the market cycle top, the RSI of 90 tends to hit the overbought territory. So that would be around 70 on the RSI indicator over here. And so I said, okay, well, it kind of does apply to 2021, although I suppose it did hit that around January. And really, the Pi cycle top was not signaled for another 3 months. However, if I look at 2017, remember, this is not quite at 70, this is at 66. But here, mid-December, RSI of 90 hits this, upper limit, if you will, right around the Pi cycle top. Let's go back to the previous cycle. So 2013. Here, this was a crazy year. Back then, nobody was even really into cryptocurrency. But you can tell that it definitely shot up into the overbought territory. And then, it was a double top cycle, much like 2021, but with greater magnitude. And around November of 2013, later that year, the RSI once again. And by the way, this actually the SMA at the moving average of the RSI 90. So I'm actually really paying attention more to the yellow curve. And if you want to learn more about RSI, all you have to do is Google or ChatGPT. Okay, so I won't go into the nitty-gritty details, but RSI is pretty old indicator. A lot of people use it. It's just that the 14-day RSI wasn't really useful to me, so I was kind of playing around with it. I might add this indicator to my arsenal because it does look to be pretty good. And another thing why this is, another reason this is useful is because now I can, look at the current RSI 90 and tell myself, hey, some people are saying, oh, are we already at the top? Are we not? I have 3 indicators now that tell me that we're nowhere near the top. Number one, the date, aiming mid-September, although I've seen a lot of influencers also say it's going to be like mid to end of October. That's fine. I'm talking about general range, right? So September, October of this year, although I personally believe it's going to be mid-September. Number 2, the Pi cycle top indicator, nowhere near the signaling. I mean, look at how much gap there is, okay? That would eventually have to close like this. And when the 2 lines cross over, that's when the Pi cycle top signals. Number 3, looking at my new indicator now, RSI of 90. We're nowhere near the upper limit, okay, of the RSI indicator. And so, just looking at this alone gives me confidence. Wow, we still have a long ways to go. In order to bring, this Bitcoin RSI to 70 over here, I really would not be surprised if we actually hit $170,000, $200,000, like I said. Now, am I really hoping that that actually happens in the next 2 to 3 months? Yes. However, I will remain patient and I'll rely on these indicators to help me guide through this process. Okay, so finally I want to talk about S&P 500. So let me turn off the indicator. Guys, this is the point I'm trying to make. Everybody was freaking out, absolutely freaking out beginning of April. Oh, the tariff wars. The economy is going down the drain. We're gonna have to move to a different country, sell all my assets. And that is just simply the herd mentality. Basically just fear, uncertainty, and doubt, not really based on anything um, sensible, in my humble opinion. Please go back and watch my videos from April. Like these are not things that I just kind of made up in hindsight. Please go back and watch those videos. I said time and time again, this is the best opportunity to buy in. Um, I mean, we were saving up a lot of cash and we bought so heavily in during April. I'm not even kidding. And right now, look at S&P 500. Guys, we're back in all-time high. And that's just the way the market recovers. There's really no reason for people to, say that we're in a recession, we're in a depression. I mean, I still think back to April and all these, videos that influencers were making, all these people just on social media that were freaking out. I mean, it was just very cringy to watch. It was a very hard watch, guys. And look at this since end April, a modest 27% gain, 29% gain. So, look, if you're not sure what to do, if you're new to the market and you're just simply looking for a little bit of educational resource, please make sure to subscribe. And this is so important because, uh, the world is becoming more and more globalized. It is becoming a more hectic place. And, the gap between, all right, I'm not even gonna go down that road. All I'm gonna say is if you're interested in financially retiring early, uh, you're interested in living a good life, setting up something good for yourself and your future generations, and you haven't subscribed yet, you're really missing out. You're really missing out. And I'm not even talking about crypto. I'm just saying, even if you're just sticking to traditional equities market, you definitely would have not missed out this opportunity had you been subscribed. This is proof. In any case, that's the main thing. Really, the main thing I wanted to talk about during this video was the new indicator that I've added to my arsenal, the RSI of 90-day period. So, especially if you're into crypto, if you're into Solana, and if you're into PopCat, please subscribe and like. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.